Welcome to the March Club for Scardello, and this month we are featuring French cheese and some other accompaniments, a couple French accompaniments.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
So my name is Rich, this is Alejandro, and we're going to talk to you about the selection for this month and of course what is coming up. So in our standard club, one of the things we wanted to do, we've done French once before, but in this new version of the club, but we wanted to do cheeses that you hadn't seen if you've been with us for a long time. And so we have an all new selection of stuff, starting with a really fantastic large format brie, Belle Étoile. This is a one of the very first bries that was imported in the United States from France. And a lot of times we don't normally bring in large format brie like this. A lot of the bries we carry are smaller. There's something fun about having these larger wheels to cut into, so you've got a nice like lengthy wedge in your packet or your box. And you know, what is more French than brie?
Yeah, especially having something that's such a big format. I feel like this is a more traditional style of a brie, and what Rich is saying is true. Everybody should have a piece that's pretty long for a brie, but this is a triple cream, which is higher in butter fat, so you'll get all these flavors that most people are used to for triple creams or bries. That is a little buttery, slightly soft, creamy, rich, but the texture of the cheese, I feel like it gives a lot of what you're expecting from a brie.
Yeah, and the rind on this is absolutely gorgeous. So I would definitely, when you're eating this, I would at least try the rind. There's going to be some mushroomy notes, some earthy notes that's going to bring to it. It's not too thick, so it's not going to mess up the texture. But this will be a cheese that will definitely benefit by bringing it to room temperature. So like all cheese, we recommend sitting them out about 30-45 minutes before you're going to eat them. So have some patience. This cheese will be worth it for sure. Next up, we have an interesting sheep's milk cheese. This is Tome Saint George. So the word tome is a really interesting thing when it comes to French cheeses because it doesn't really have a defined meaning. Typically, it's about yay big to yay big, round cheese, usually made in the mountains somewhere. And so this one, St. George, is different. Number one, because it's a washed rind cheese. They're washing the outside, so you'll notice even though there's some white mold on there too. There is some kind of darker coloration under there, and then also the thing that you'll get is you'll get some of those like fruity and nutty notes in the flavor profile, which is really nice. But this has an interesting backstory.
Yeah, according to the legend or the story, there used to be in the town of St. George. There used to be this dragon that will terrorize the town, so the people will give the dragon 2 sheep a day, until one day this dragon slayer killed the dragon and they name a cheese under his name, and that's why the cheese is made also with sheep's milk to kind of commemorate that. The cheese nowadays is made in a town near St. George specifically, but it's a beautiful texture. And what I like the most about this cheese is we've done this category before for French Club or even sheep's milk category, but it's the perfect way to translate what a mountain style cheese from France is like, because you get this funky, earthy, sometimes even slightly mushroomy profile on the outside, but once you bite into the base, it's the most beautiful, mild, slightly sweet flavor from the sheep's milk.
Yeah, and a lot of times you don't, Alpine style cheeses, these mountain style cheeses, you don't often see in sheep's milk, mostly because they're made with cow's milk, but so things like Gruyere, Comté, but this will be a fun thing to add to what's going on. The other cheese kind of in that same sort of vein that's Alpine style, but cow's milk, is Morbier. And Morbier is a really interesting cheese because it's got this line of ash through the middle. And so, you know, legend has it, or a lot of people think that historically this cheese was made because producers were, you know, making Comté, which is a large format, 85-pound wheel. They would have some leftover curd. Of course, you didn't want to be wasteful. And so they would take that curd and they would put it into a form that was a little bit smaller, but they still didn't have enough to make a full wheel, so they would cover the top with ash to preserve it. And then the next milking, the next time they're making cheese, the leftover curd would go in to finish the wheel up. And so that's why there's this line of ash in the middle. You've got morning milk on one side, evening milk on the other. But this is kind of that classic semi-soft cow's milk Alpine style cheese. It's going to be a little more funky.
Yeah, it's a cheese that we don't have often. The best way to describe it, like it's something in between raclette but also Alpine. The line in the middle does give the cheese's beautiful characteristic to it, but once you bite into it, also great cheese for cooking as well because the way it melts. But once you bite into the cheese, you'll notice kind of has that similarity to raclette in the way it has a bendy texture, slightly creamy.
Yeah, a little bit brothy and meaty as well. Really fun cheese, and like Alejandro said, we don't have this cheese in the case hardly at all. So this is a treat for the club. A cheese that we do have a lot, and a cheese we've carried from the day we opened, is the last cheese for our standard club, and that is Bleu d'Auvergne. Bleu d'Auvergne, blue cheese, relatively new blue cheese from France, started in 1855 was when it was created. It was created by Antoine Rousseau, who really was the first person to kind of figure out how blue cheese was, how it happened. Previously, they just put it in the cave and wait for the magic to happen. Here, he really studied well, how does this bluing happen? And so he was lancing and piercing the wheel and realized that air is one of the things that helps that mold to grow. And so even though it does look like a really strong flavored blue, it's very creamy. That creaminess really calms it down. This is an extremely approachable blue, generally speaking. But if you're not that into blue, honey's always your best friend.
Yeah. For our standard club, we also have 2 fun accompaniments. I think one of those will be great. For the blue, if you don't like that, I will start with that one. This is sun-dried strawberries, and we feature many different types of dry fruit for the club, but I feel like this will be the one that will pair the best with our selection of cheese, because the way these are sun-dried, they kind of creates this slightly earthy but at the same time juicy and fresh strawberry flavor, and I think that will be the best combination to almost check the boxes for those cheeses that have more of a nutty, slightly earthy flavor, especially with the Tom or even the blue. So I will give that a try. It's almost like your natural version of a little gummy bears. A little acidic, a little earthy. It's a really fun dry fruit accompaniment. The next one that we have, it's also crackers, and I don't think we have featured mini toast before, but I think these again will be the ones that will pair the best with all the cheeses, specifically the brie and the Tom as well. These are made with whole wheat, and having those more rustic and nutty flavors, I think that will be a good connection for the French cheeses that usually tend to showcase those same type of flavors.
Yeah, and there's nothing like mini toast are just great. It's one of my favorites. There's something about miniaturized toast that is awesome. Okay, so for our deluxe club, we've got a couple of fun cheeses. The first of which we've got a flour-coated goat cheese. This is Tome Chèvre au Fleur. So once again, Tome just means a small, roundish cheese made in the mountains. This is made in the Auvergne region, same as our blue. And it is coated, it's a semi-soft goat cheese coated in edible flours.
Yeah, it has a really cool texture once you guys try it, because it's a semi-soft cheese, but it has a very close texture to almost like a fresh goat cheese. It's slightly crumbly and creamy at the same time, and the flours just give the cheese the most beautiful, almost herbaceous flavor. And I feel like we said this before, goat's milk is always a great blank canvas to pair with anything else. So having just this tome of pure goat's milk and then those flours going on the outside, it creates the most beautiful, slightly earthy, sweet, but a little lemony from the goat's milk.
Yeah, and just so you know, in the handout it says cow's milk. It's not. It is goat's milk. So just so you know, that is a typo there. But I love this cheese. The other cheese we have that's also goat's milk is Bon de Ton. And last month, if you were in the Deluxe Club, we had Shabby Shoe in there from Blakesville in Wisconsin, which is a similar style cheese, but a larger format made here in the States. Bon de Ton, the one that we have is made by Poitou Chèvre, which is a co-op in the town of Poitou that got together in the late 1890s. And, they were making cheese there before, but they kind of like, let's pool our resources and do this together. Still it's a co-op run in the town of Poitou, making cheese over 100 years later. And so this is going to be this beautiful little white round. When you cut into it, it's going to be a little bit gooey under the rind. The rind is really wrinkly inside. There's going to be kind of more of a soft, cloudy texture, maybe a little bit firm. I haven't cut into these wheels. They seem like they're in a really good spot. But you're going to get, the nice part about the goat cheese from the Loire Valley is you get some more minerally notes in there, which are really, really fun. I love goat cheeses from the Loire Valley, and I'm excited for you guys to try that.
Yeah, and I think it'll be fun for people doing the Deluxe Club, having 2 goat cheeses back to back, even if, like Rich mentioned, you had Shabby Shoe last week. But for this one, specifically for Bon de Ton, the rind that forms on the outside that we mentioned, remember, last club, the Geotrichum, the way it forms on these wheels, because it's a smaller format, you guys will be able to notice that how much interacts with the cheese, because you get to see the wrinkly rind on the outside, and then the center, maybe something similar more to our Tom Chef, the way it crumbles apart, but the flavor, it's something beautiful that doesn't compare to other goat cheeses.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool one. So accompaniment-wise, we've got, we're sticking with the classics, at least with our first one, and that is cornichons. So cornichons, just very, they're just little bitty French pickles.
Yeah, and we have our club, I feel like, for this selection, cheeses are all very buttery, rich, and creamy. So having the acidity side from the pickle, cutting through the richness of that will be a great pairing for any of the cheeses. Our next one is a little outside the box, and maybe not even
literally
French. but
you've got something from like Louisiana,
yeah.
and from so that's French adjacent.
I thought it would be great having this in the club because of the components are on the chocolate, are similar flavors to some of the more aged cheeses like the Tom's and George. But we're doing some chocolate truffles from Dude Sweet. They're locally made here in Dallas, specifically in Bishop Arts, Catherine Clapnet. We carry some of their chocolates. They do amazing things when it comes to putting flavors together that I feel like it's so similar to the fun cheeses that we have in the case. Yeah. These truffles are made with brandy, honey, a sweet potato syrup, and perique, which is a tobacco leaf that has been fermented, and then she adds the extract and adds that to the filling of the truffle. It's a fun flavor combination. You get a little bit of the smokiness from the tobacco, a little bit of the sweetness from the honey and the sweet potato, but it's more interesting the textural experience that happens in your palate with the chocolate, the way the tobacco interacts. We thought it was great. We used it for some of our classes, but it will be really fun to have that experience with the goat cheese, having something that's slightly tingly, and then the acidity side from the goat's milk.
Yeah, all I'll say about these truffles is it's a wild ride. So hold on to something when you take a bite. Make sure.
I will also say, do not go for a full truffle.
Yeah, no.
Cut into it and take a little bite.
Small, yeah. Start small.
It's a big flavor.
Don't go crazy. So that is our club for this month. Really excited for you guys to delve into some cool, interesting French cheeses. Next month, we're focused on an accompaniment. And that accompaniment and cheeses that go with it, and that accompaniment is?
Pickles.
Pickles. We're going to do a bunch of pickled things for the accompaniments next time. Like Alejandro was saying about the cornichons, and by the way, cornichons won't be one of the pickled items in the box. But one of the cool things about pickled items and a lot of different cheeses is because you've got that acidity in that brined product, it really cuts through some of the creamy and fatty notes in the cheese. We'll have some fun combinations, cheese and pickle wise, that I think you guys will really like. And so, we're super excited about that. As always, if you have any suggestions, questions, comments, shoot me an email, rich@scardellocheese.com. It's the only one on the website. We really appreciate you guys being part of our club. It's so much fun for us to plan it and do it. And so thank you, and we'll see you next month.
Time.